So, I've talked about us returning to Northrend a long while ago, and I gave some idea on how it could work and who we could end up fighting against. Of course, obviously I mentioned Bolvar, but something about that irks me. It irks me because, as of now, Bolvar's motives are so hidden, and we don't really know how much of a threat he actually is. Like, we knew how much of a threat Arthas was. We knew how much of a threat Sargeras was, and we know how much of a threat N'Zoth is. But what about the new Lich King? What is he planning? What does Bolvar want? What does Bolvar want? Because we know he's planning for something. We know that from Legion. He specifically tells the Deathlord that if he or she fails, he will be taking the Ebon Blade for himself. Now, we know the Deathlord didn't fail, but the idea is now out there. We knew then that he was already doing sketchy stuff, and that just confirms it. But does that mean that, hypothetically, he will take the Ebon Blade and use its armies to attack us, and we will have to go to Northrend and stop him? I don't think so. I think it is much more complicated than just that. And I believe this because Bolvar has consistently made himself out to be different from the other rulers of death. While Arthas wanted to conquer life, and while Sylvanas wanted more arrows in her quiver, he wants none of it. And one of the biggest, well, two of the biggest things that make me believe this sort of thing is when he tells the Deathlord,
"Of course, should you fail to survive, know that I shall claim Agarus for my own. Arthas may have sought revenge on the Citadel, but I have other plans."
which sets himself apart from Arthas. And then you have the next quote,
"The Banshee Queen's schemes threatened the balance. I had no hand in them."
which sets himself apart from Sylvanas and anyone who threatens the balance between life and death. So this tells me that Bolvar doesn't wish for conquest on the living, not like the previous Lich King or the other rulers of death. So again, what does he want? And, well, I've established Bolvar is setting himself apart from the other rulers of death, and I believe he is doing this because he himself wants control of death itself. I believe this because of one of N'Zoth's many whispers from 8.1.5, which is,
"The veil wanes. His crown will open the way."
It's pretty convoluted, but I believe the veil it's talking about is between our world and the Shadowlands, much like how it is with the Emerald Dream, and regardless of whether the crown mention is the Helm of Damnation or just Bolvar himself, it's safe to mention that Icecrown is the anchor between our world and the Shadowlands, and as we know, the Shadowlands is a very, very important part for all those that reside over death. So Bumsamdi, the Lich King, Helya, anyone who has dominion over death itself. And so if one were to remove the other rulers and conquer the land itself, they would have unbridled power both inside and outside the Shadowlands. And I believe Bolvar wishes to do just that, and I believe that when the time comes, we won't be fighting against him. We will be helping him. Now, I could go into so much more, but I don't want this video running over 8 to 10 minutes or so I will leave you with many of your own holes to fill, and you can tell me about what you think of this video, WoW or its lore, in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching.